You are not born wanting children. You are trained into it. From the beginning, life is presented to you as a script with a clean arc. Grow, pair, reproduce, repeat. Most people never question the middle act. You do. This chapter begins with a refusal, not loud, not angry, but deliberate. You step out of the expected future, and the room goes quiet. The psychology of being child-free by choice is not about hatred, immaturity, or selfishness. Those are social defense mechanisms, labels used to protect the script from scrutiny. At its core, this movement is about autonomy, not surface-level freedom, but existential autonomy, the right to decide what kind of life is worth enduring. Attachment theory explains part of this refusal. Your earliest models of intimacy, how love, sacrifice, and obligation were demonstrated, shape what family feels like in your nervous system. If closeness once meant depletion, chaos, or emotional debt, reproduction stops looking sacred. It starts looking expensive. Not financially, psychologically. You observe how identity dissolves into roles, how people become parents before they become themselves, so you hesitate. The decision not to have children often emerges where control meets uncertainty. Parenthood is irreversible, asymmetrical, and immune to trial periods, and your mind is allergic to irreversible commitments made under cultural pressure. This is where dark psychology enters, not manipulation, but perception. You see how society frames reproduction as moral while framing refusal as suspicious. The pressure is subtle. Questions disguised as concern, jokes that carry teeth. Who will take care of you? Don't you want meaning? Isn't that lonely? These are not questions. They are behavioral correction tools. The child-free choice exposes a hidden truth. Many people didn't choose parenthood. They complied with it. And compliance hates mirrors. There is also fear on your side, but it is a different kind. You fear unconscious repetition. You fear becoming a role before resolving the self. Psychologically, opting out becomes a form of boundary setting across generations, a refusal to pass forward unresolved patterns. This is not nihilism, it is containment. Yet the cost is real. When you reject the default future, you also reject its ready-made identity. No milestones automatically arrive. No socially scripted meaning unfolds on schedule. You gain freedom, but you lose narrative certainty. And humans are narrative creatures. We tolerate suffering better when the story is clear. So the refusal creates a vacuum, a quiet one. In this vacuum, you must answer a question most people outsource. What justifies my existence? This is why the choice feels heavy even when it feels right. You are not just saying no to children, you are saying no to an inherited explanation of life. The dark irony, society calls this selfish because it cannot monetize or ritualize it. But psychologically, this is the first adult decision many people ever make, one without applause. Refusing the script forces you to write your own, and blank pages are terrifying. In the next chapter, we enter the aftermath, because freedom, once achieved, begins asking questions of its own, and it is not gentle.
Freedom arrives quietly. No fireworks. Just space. At first, it feels like relief. Time opens, energy returns. You sleep when you want, leave when you want, shape your days without negotiation. This is the honeymoon phase of autonomy, and psychology has a name for what comes next: hedonic adaptation. What once felt like liberation becomes baseline. The nervous system adjusts. The thrill decays. Freedom stops feeling like a reward and starts feeling like air, necessary, invisible, unquestioned. This is where the deeper questions surface, not loudly, persistently. If life is not organized around sacrifice for offspring, what organizes it at all? Most cultures solve the problem of meaning by outsourcing it to continuation. Children become a form of symbolic immortality, a way to extend the self beyond death without confronting death directly. When you opt out, that buffer disappears. Time becomes sharper. You feel the future differently, more open, more fragile. Existential psychology calls this unmediated finitude. No legacy by default, no guarantees. So you compensate. Careers become identities, creative projects become descendants, impact replaces inheritance. These are not lesser substitutes, but they are chosen ones, and choice carries responsibility. Intimacy changes too. Without children as relational glue, bonds must stand on emotional truth alone. No shared project to hide behind, no parental roles to stabilize fragile connections. Attachment dynamics become exposed. Avoidance can no longer masquerade as independence. Anxiety has nowhere to outsource its need. Some relationships deepen under this pressure, others dissolve. Then there is the shadow emotion few admit to, regret anxiety. Not regret itself, but the fear of future regret. Your mind runs simulations at night, imagined versions of you, older, quieter, wondering. Psychologically, this is not evidence of a wrong decision, it is evidence of an irreversible one. The brain treats permanence as a threat, even when permanence is chosen. What surprises you is the counterweight, anticipatory relief. Moments when you observe exhausted parents and feel a calm gratitude that is almost guilty. This oscillation, relief and doubt, never fully resolves. It matures. The trade-off becomes clear. You gain flexibility, but you inherit ambiguity. Freedom gives you time. Meaning demands you fill it. Rule card. Freedom removes the cage, but also the map. In the next chapter, we confront the final tension. What happens when identity is no longer defined by opposition or escape, but by what you build in the silence you chose?